Welcome back to the Nothing Is Wrong podcast. We have 1,000 people live tuning in to this episode. Just kidding. I have.
I was like, no, you don't.
I am joined by Erin Nolan today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brooks. You just terrified me for a second. Like, I actually just saw a meme of, was it Jimmy Fallon? It was like an April Fool's joke where the person was like, oh my gosh, are we live? Can we? And he was like, it's okay. And then he goes and like checks on her, and then she's like, haha, just kidding, April Fools. So
Yeah,
that's what that felt like.
I have like the Fathom note taker for Zoom that
Yep.
automatically joins, and it says to the participants like this meeting is being live streamed. And the amount of times, I don't know why it says that, but the amount of times someone's like 30 minutes into a conversation with me and their eyes just get massive and they're like, this is being live streamed. And I'm like, no, it's not being live streamed. Like, you're not on YouTube right now. Like, they pay.
Oh
And,
my God.
but I don't know why it says that because it's obviously very misleading. I'm like, it's
That's
just a recording.
disturbing. That's a
Yeah.
little disturbing. Also, aside, like I used to be in the crypto space, so Fathom, like did it used to be Phantom? Did it used to be a crypto thing, or am I just totally making
I
that
think
up?
it's just totally separate. But I'm glad you said that because maybe we go that direction today because I'm a Bitcoiner.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
So
no, I have lots to say about that. I mean, actually, well,
okay.
the reason I ask is because I was looking at one of the Fathom recordings, the notes, because I've had people use it with me too. And I saw like this like NFT that I had bought in 2021 show up as my avatar, and I was like, how does it know that that was an NFT that I bought?
Oh, that's kind of freaky.
It was weird. It's like this like weird noodle. It was back when I don't know, there were like these doodles, but then if you didn't
Yeah.
didn't get a doodle, you could get a noodle, and they were like the cheaper version, and
That
I was like fully into it.
that was like COVID time, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I got so deep into it. I have this thing called an Avogotchi. Like, did you ever have Tamagotchi? I don't
Yeah.
know what our age difference is, but
Yeah.
Tamagotchi was big when I was a kid, and so they made this crypto game called Avogotchi.
Okay.
Ave is like a stable coin.
Okay, I'm
Anyway,
familiar with Aave.
yeah, yeah. So I got really deep into that, and I have all of the ugly NFTs that were supposed to make millions of dollars, and like didn't. And then I made my
Yeah.
own NFTs, so it's a whole world.
Nice. Well, yeah, I love it. Now we've got to run. I don't. We're not going to be able to cover everything. Okay.
Wait, how long do we have? I don't actually know.
I've I've got I've got time. How much time do you have?
Okay. I also have time.
Cool. Cool. All right. Do you want to share a little bit about who you are?
Sure. I am a kaleidoscopic, creative, wild woman. That being said, I am coming off of about 15 years working in corporate tech, so there's a lot of unlearning to do with regard to that. Um, I worked as a designer making apps and websites in big tech companies. I've worked, for example, like Twitter, New York Times, Squarespace, Etsy, just kind of a whole gamut. And I got into the design space because my grandpa was like an OG Mad Men graphic designer, straight up like had an agency in New York and literally looked like Don Draper. And I was
Oh
just like,
shit.
ugh. I mean, it was cool for a while, and now it's like, maybe that's not so cool. But he was a designer through and through, and he made posters for the Navy, and he designed stamps for the post office. So he uh, he was really able to use art to communicate with people, and so that's what I love. I studied communication design, and I love using visuals to find ways to communicate things with people like quickly and
Mm.
in a really emotional way. And that's what design used to be in the in the agency world. But then eventually, like 15 years into capitalism and tech and big tech, it kind of really turned into just spreadsheets and
Mm.
stand-ups and like learning how to say the corporate words to get to the other side. And then you're like, what is the other side? I don't really want to be on the other side of this. At least I personally didn't.
Yeah.
So always been an artist at heart, a visual communicator at heart. That being said, I decided about, I want to say it was like 3 years ago. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need a sabbatical. I need to figure out like something else. So I left tech, um, and then uh, I just went on this journey of like, how do I reconnect with creativity and art and things that light me up? And I did that, and I realized through that process, I was like, wait, I've been journaling for like my whole life, and my journals are really cool. Every time I show people my journals, they're like, who are you? This is so cool. How do you do this? And because they're not, you think of a journal, and I think most people think like Dear Diary, like
Yeah.
I hate my manager and
Yeah.
this person is bothering me and like my partner won't do the dishes and just, yes, there is that. But I turned my journal into sort of this permission slip to uh I don't know, be a cauldron of curiosity and interest and art and scraps and all sorts of stuff, just like for whatever I needed it for. And I was like, wait, I love teaching. I could teach this to people. And then I thought, okay, well, who do I teach it to? And I started with my friends, and then my friends were like, this is amazing. You can heal a lot of people with this. So yeah, I mean, a long way of saying I'm multifaceted, and I love art, and but I also love combining art and technology and frameworks and structure.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love it. That's well, full disclosure, like I feel like I come from the opposite end of the spectrum as far as like creativity. Like I was like the math person,
Oh man,
analytical, like not connected at all to.
what?
And if you would have told me like 5 or 10 years ago, like all the things, because in Lifted, which by the way, just for people listening, we were in the same in Lifted certification, which is a mindset coaching that involves writing. And before that, like journaling, I was like, what the hell are you talking? And uh, but I'm like, so I'm excited for this conversation around like the art side, the creativity side, and things like that, because it's funny because my analytical brain is like, oh yeah, so that's a way to get beyond your analytical brain and get more connected to the subconscious and things like that. But it like totally makes sense
Totally.
as you're talking about
Yes.
that. So like, but I have no, like the whole art thing. Like I'm like, I don't know. Like I've never really been into art in any way.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? What's top
Well,
of mind for you?
I'm curious, like, because so many, I mean, it's such a common thing for people to say that I can't draw or I'm not creative or I've never been into it. So I'm just really curious, like, is that true? Like, when you were a kid, did you ever draw? Did you
Mm.
ever, like, make, I don't know, make up stories or anything in that realm? Was there a point when you used to do that?
You know what? Now that you're saying that, and I haven't even thought about this like in a very long time, I was like writing a fiction book when I was a kid about like a house with ghosts in it and stuff.
That's
And
amazing,
I have
right?
no, I wonder if that's still in my closet at my parents' house. But yeah.
Yeah. Interesting you mentioned that being there because I have had so many dreams recently about gifts sitting inside of a closet, like literal gifts that are just like waiting to be seen and opened and looked at because they're just hidden in a
Mm,
closet. I think a lot of people have unremembered moments from when they were kids, from when they used to be, they were either like writing a story or drawing anime or whatever, and then there's like a wounding point where somebody looks at what they did and that they're either like, why are you spending time on that, or that's just your imagination, or that doesn't look good, and then they just shut the door. And that's like so
Mm,
heartbreaking to me.
yeah, that definitely resonates. I mean, I feel like even right now, there's a part of me that looks back on that time and is like, what does that do for your career and your advancement and it's just like that's not real type of thing.
Yeah, the whole like that's not real and that's just your imagination, that those phrases fascinate me because in the same way that when I think about just how far away the stars go or like how big the universe is, and my mind is just like it's incomprehensible, I don't know. When someone says that's just your imagination, but then the next question I would want to ask is like, well, where do you think imagination comes from? And I'm just like, yo, where does imagination come from? Like, yeah, what is that? What is that thing? Where does it come from? And that's so cool. Like, and then if you think about it, everything that we have around us is because someone imagined it at some point. It's like the smoke detector behind me didn't exist at some point, and someone's like, "We should really make this thing." Like, so
Yeah.
yeah. To dial back to your question a bit more, though, I think the it's so sad that it feels impractical because the only way that we as people can get beyond the limitations of what we have now are if we can imagine something else.
Mm. Hmm.
And that literally it has to be a thing that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned dreams. Like
Yeah.
when you're in a dream, it feels the exact same way that this feels right now,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're in your bed, those things aren't in front of you. Like that. Yeah. And I think for me, uh, a like learning about like the emotional brain and the rational brain growing up, or maybe in my like early 20s, kind of had it pushed me further into like a decrease in self trust because it was like, look at these
Mm,
studies of like if you're emotional, quote unquote, you're not making the right decisions. But I've been like thinking about this recently because it's like, well, by what end? Like what's the end goal that you're measuring that by? Sure, yeah, is this the more logical choice for money or winning some game? But it's like, but is that all there is? Like there's a lot more to, and then to disconnect with so much of your intuition and things like that. I think it totally pushed me away even further, which like now I'm coming back around. But anyways, um, yeah, I can't help but really appreciate everything about this because it's super cool. I mean, it's like uh, when I did a plant medicine journey that was like really powerful for me a few years back.
yeah.
He had me draw a bunch after, and I was like,
Yes.
"What is this?" But I loved it. Like
Right. What do you remember what you drew?
there's one that I really remember. There's two. Um, One was like this. I need to find it. We've moved like twice since then. It was just a circle, and it was a bunch of little squiggles, like squiggly lines, and then in the middle of the circle was another circle with no squiggly lines in it. And it was like it was really hitting home that like I was that smaller circle, not all these little things around it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that image pops into my head when I'm like overthinking a lot.
That's
Um,
so interesting. Yes.
yeah. And then the other one was like me going up a mountain and like
Yep.
thinking that I was this little guy on top of the mountain getting thrown away around by like the wind and the weather and things like that. And like in the experience, there was this like no, you're this mountain. Like that's not
Mm,
just only you. And so those are the two I remember drawing that have
yeah,
totally come back to me a few quite often since then.
right. They're experiential and they're visual memories that you can pull up when you need them. Is that like a fair way to describe it?
For sure. Yeah.
What you're saying is reminding me of this word. I may be pronouncing it incorrectly. It's called poesis, and it's a Greek word, but there's these different ways of knowing. There's like knowing through or there's creating towards a known end, right? Like you're a skilled craftsperson and you know you need to make a chair and you've got the draft of the how it needs to look and you make it. And then there's also knowing through reading and intellectualizing and knowing through theory. And then there's this knowing through making, where like the making itself reveals something that you already knew but didn't realize it.
Mm,
And that's what fascinates me about art making. It's not that like you have an orange in front of you and you make it look exactly like an orange. It's not that. It's like the same way I'm speaking right now, and I'm taking things that are inside of my mind and externalizing them so someone else can relate to them and respond to them, is how I think about making art. I'm taking something that's inside me and I'm portraying it as best as I feel like, or, in a visual. And then it becomes this other object that I can like talk to, respond to, learn from, get insights from, research with. It's a really it's very creative, and it also lends itself to surprise and awe and all this other stuff where you're just like, how often do we get to feel surprised? Like I feel like we all just kind of know what we're doing and hopefully we do it like really well, but surprise is a great emotion.
yeah. I love that. One of my favorite books is called The Book of Not Knowing, and it's
Mm,
basically like 800 pages about just cultivating that sense of anytime you're doing anything and you have this, oh, I already know, you can't learn, you can't do anything from that place. And yeah, it really sounds like to you this, well, obviously your the corporate jobs are probably more of the, hey, this is the end goal, we're making this to make this,
yeah. And
I
it's like we
assume.
won't even consider making it unless we are confident that it will make millions of dollars, you know?
uh
And so
yeah.
experimentation is off I mean, didn't used to be, but as of recently, I think a lot of these companies, they're getting to the point where they're milking like smaller and smaller and smaller, there's like less juice to squeeze and it's all
Mm,
about getting the last drops instead of uh they don't really have the appetite to be risky or interesting or weird anymore.
gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so and then it really also models kind of one of my favorite stories is the Golden Buddha.
Hmm.
Have you
Tell
heard
me.
that?
No.
Okay, so it's basically, I'll probably butcher it, but there was a golden Buddha statue, and people were coming to this city to raid it or whatever, and so they took clay and covered up the whole Buddha in clay to make it ugly so that they wouldn't take the golden Buddha. And then, like years later or whatever, somebody's meditating in front of it, and a piece falls off, and then he goes up and he's like, "Oh my gosh, there's gold under there." And then he like goes and gets everybody and tells his friends, and like they start peeling it, so like as you were describing that, it remind because that's the way I think about, that's been a really helpful frame for me to like just life in general of, hey, there's inner wisdom here that I just don't realize I
Yeah.
already have. And so instead of like the anxiety provoking going out and trying to fix yourself, like hence the name of the podcast, like really rediscovering that. And so that's exactly what I was thinking of as you were talking about, like using this as a way to just like unfold something that's already somewhere and just letting it come
Yes.
out.
Yes, that is such a cool story. And you talking about gold too, of course, it reminds me of alchemy and the concept of
Uh,
taking lead or, an alchemist back in the day was supposedly someone who could take lead and turn it into gold. But if you think about it from a metaphor or analogy perspective, by the way, I never know what I don't know the difference between metaphors and analogies. Like I don't know, they're the same. What's
I
the
don't think
difference?
I
I
do
don't know.
either. I don't think I do. Yeah.
One of those uh like lead can be something that is a challenge in your life or like a block or I don't know, a breakup or something, and taking that lead and turning it into something that genuinely helps you know yourself better, helps you respect yourself more, helps you find more power in your own needs. That is alchemy. And I think, to bring it back to journaling, the reason why I journal in ways that go beyond just Dear Diary is because it gives me a creative outlet to process lead and consolidate it and externalize it and find a way to turn it into gold.
Mm, mm. That's amazing. I love it. That okay, I'm curious. Let's maybe for someone like me who's
Hmm.
I'm going to be honest, like maybe not so anymore, but like 5 years ago you would have had to tell me what can I get out of it? Like what am I going to get out of
Yeah, yeah,
this? And I know
yeah.
that's going to kind of like get in the way of the process in general, but for like when you're telling people who aren't like actively looking at doing this, but they're like, "Hey, I've been really anxious lately," or
Mm.
I'm struggling with work or my life path or whatever, like um where, where do you kind of where would you recommend starting with some sort of practice like this?
Well, so if let's say the main concern is would you say like the main concern is feeling anxious in a specific moment and wanting to find a way to like come back to center, or is it like overthinking? I don't know. Those are just two examples.
Well, I guess to make it more real, I'll just yeah. So for me, I feel like I'm feeling really good about like where my business is, like a lot of life avenues. There's still a lot of overthinking and just maybe my main I'm intrigued to just what you said about centering. Just like get some of this extra stuff out. Like just really like slow down in my day, not have
Hmm.
anywhere to be, maybe as like almost like in place of a meditation habit or something like that.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but maybe even gosh, as I'm saying that, I almost it sounds like it could be helpful for an overflow of ideas where I'm just like constantly thinking, oh, I should do that, I should do that, I should do that, and it's just paralyzing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely have that. There's a few things. So for the overflow of ideas, this one probably sounds or potentially sounds obvious, but whenever I show it to people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I could do that." So I call the overflow idea. There's a page that I call an idea party,
Mm,
and I just write every idea down, and instead of a bullet point next to it, I'll do a little flower or like some sort of a happy face, just some icon, right, that makes it a little bit more fun.
mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, instead of it being a checklist of like I have to do all these things, it's just literally a way to clear the slate, to close the tabs and say like, here's my idea party, and I don't worry about whether or not I ever do them. It's just I have it down and then I can move forward. Um, with that idea party, if you are interested in picking one and there's a sense of overwhelm, then what I like to do is like sometimes I need to close my eyes, other times I don't, but I'll just go through the list of ideas almost like they're cards in front of my heart and just say, is there one of these that makes my heart like, can I imagine my heart having flowers coming out of it when I see this idea in front of it, or something that's joyful or fun? Because as long as it's fun and it feels like curious and interesting to you, and that's usually the one that I like to start with.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, all right. The I love how you bring the body into it because that's been like a focus of mine lately of just like starting to really pay attention more, and in Lifted has done that for
Yeah.
me. Like,
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, I mean, so one time I was talking to a friend about all the ideas I had, and I was like, "Ah, I don't know how to pick. I don't know how to pick." And then I said, "Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes and imagine that I'm wearing an Earth suit. Like I am an Earth or a planet or something." And with each of these ideas, I want to imagine what the Earth looks like if I were to embody or like follow through on this idea, right? Is the one where I'm trying to do coaching with people who have recently left long-term partners or been through a divorce. How does that earth look compared to the idea where I'm teaching people how to do visual somatic journaling? And what kind of animals are in each? And are there waterfalls in one? Or like, is there a swamp in the other? And just taking that moment to visualize and imagine the thing that you're considering as a whole like ecosystem or planet can give you more clarity on which one is worth pursuing for
Uh,
you.
yeah, I love it. All right. So, uh, how okay, what would you say to someone who tries that and they have a really hard time quiet
Visualizing.
yeah, visualizing or feeling like their heart or feeling,
Mm,
visualizing the planet or whatever the experience is. Like a lot of and this is 100% me as well, but a lot of the clients I've been working with, I start to, go this route away from the thinking mind, and they're just like,
mm.
I don't, what are you talking? Like they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh man, this reminds me of when I took a neon making class. This is kind of an aside, but it'll come back. I took a neon making class at one point, and the instructor, with neon, you're bending glass tubes over fire, and the instructor was just like, and I was like, "What did you just do? You're not." And he's like, "I just did it." So yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to remember like what the side, before you get to, oh yeah, of course you just visualize the planet, duh. It's not duh. So to answer that question, okay, I think there's the same way you might, let's say I come into your training program and I'm like, Brooks, I can do like one sit up and not even one pull up. There's certain core exercises that you do to just even be able to feel the muscles that you're supposed to feel to do the
Mm,
thing.
yeah.
And so, one way, there's many, but one way that I enjoy doing that, and I've found that a lot of people I work with like, is um, closing your eyes and imagining, let's just say, let's limit it to this past week. You close your eyes, your mind becomes a projector, and you're thinking about this past week and you're letting little snippets of this past week fly by the projector. You're not dwelling on one for too long, but just kind of getting in that zone of like, okay, what do I remember from this past week? So for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I went to this place called Deception Pass, and there was a big cliff and a bridge. And so actually, what I'm doing right now is, and I'm trying to do this while I describe it to you all, but I have a pen in my hand, and I'm closing my eyes, and I am drawing those symbols that are flitting through my mind as my eyes are closed and as I'm remembering them. So in this sense, the drawing that I'm making, my eyes are closed. Like it's not going to look like the cliff. It's not going to look like what else happened to me this week? I went to a farmer's market, so maybe I'll draw like a little bottle that I remember seeing. I don't think about it too hard. And I'm, these are very uh, non represented. They don't need to look like the thing, right? Because
Hmm.
your eyes are closed. So go through the the thing of the weeks, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, all right, now drawing Deception Pass. There's like a bridge there. I'm drawing the bottle from the farmer's market. I'm drawing a little couple dots for a paint palette I saw earlier. I'm going to draw a little phone because I got a lot of voice notes from friends. Let's just like pause there. So I have these like funky blind drawings that I did
Yeah.
of my week, right?
Yeah.
And the next thing, so now you're already getting that system of like recalling an image, getting it out on paper, but it's based
Yeah.
on your week, right? Then I can say, all right, I actually this is now a thing outside of me. I want to talk to one of these things. And it's like, which one do I want to talk to? I'm gonna talk to, I don't like no right or wrong answer. I'm gonna talk to the paint palette here. And then I can say, so it's like this might teach me something that I already know that I don't know that I know. So if I'm talking to the paint palette, there's like four questions I want to ask it. The first question is, um, what do you feel? And that means like, what do you feel in your body? And so this is kind of an imaginative exercise, right? Like, uh, what does a paint palette feel in its body? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it feels a little like, maybe it's a little dry right now because like no one's used it in a while. So I'm going to say I'm going to feel kind of dried out. Um, and then the next question would be, what do you think? So you're talking, you go from body to mind of this thing. So what does this paint palette think? I think the paint palette thinks, I'll use my imagination here. I'm pretty cool. And then what do you believe? So you're going body is what do you feel? Mind, what do you think? Spirit, what do you believe? I'm asking this paint palette. The paint palette believes it's easier than you think. I'm easier. I'm easier. Easier what? Easier to connect with than you think. Okay, so let's say I'm going to ask it one more question. What do you need from me?
Mm.
What do you need from me? This brings them all together. What do you need from me? I'm going to say play.
Mm.
So here's what my answers are. What do you feel? Dried out. What do you think? I'm pretty cool. What do you believe? I'm easier to connect with than you think. What do you need from me? Play. And from there, you can take it further and you can say, like, circle three words that stand out to you. Take those three words, turn them into a bumper sticker. You've now made a whole, like, process of inquiry just from drawing out a couple of blind things from your week that, like, help you, A, get really present, and B, start to use those like muscles of imagination.
Yeah. Okay.
And I guess I should have asked you these questions instead of just going through
No.
my own process. But I don't know. Did you have a chance to, as I was like talking it through, I don't know if you want to try it too.
Well, first and foremost, to anybody listening, those are pretty damn good for you drawing with your eyes shut. I would not have. Mine would have been awful. But
Wait. Before you continue, this whole process is about low skill, high sensitivity.
okay.
It is genuinely for, it is like, it is not supposed to look like something. It's only supposed to be a thing for you to anchor like a dialogue with.
Okay. Okay. Got
It's
it.
low skill
Um.
and you're being highly sensitive towards it.
Okay. All right. No, I didn't go. Honestly, watching you go through it was freaking cool. Like that was awesome. And to go from a rant like what I do this week to that much, and that last question, what do you need from me? That stuck out as really cool. Um,
Yeah, I love that
and I
one.
imagine this is very similar to like who was it? Like, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I think our internet connection
Yeah.
broke for a second, but we're
Oh,
good.
okay, cool. Um, yeah, I was gonna say that because I was like, whenever I'm on these and it's like delaying on my end, I feel like I'm kind of just like staring, and probably if the other person sees me normally, they're like, "What is he doing?" So, um, what was I gonna say? Didn't like, wasn't it like Einstein or some artist? They'll like set up a contraption to wake them up as soon as they started dreaming, so they could immediately come up and just start drawing or something like that.
I don't know, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was like some, maybe it wasn't Einstein, but it was like a whole thing that they did. But I feel like I've always heard of people also like waking up, um, keeping a journal by your bed and just like writing as soon as possible from your dreams or whatever. But okay, this is cool. I'm gonna try this. And I almost feel like it could be, if there's like a major life decision, it could be a great way to kind of just get things that you're not seeing out into the open to help consider.
Totally. I mean, gosh, one time I did this. So one of the times I did this, I had injured in two random freak accidents both of my thumbs. Okay, I had just gone back into tech after being out of tech, and I was not okay emotionally. I was like, what happened was I both of my thumbs essentially stopped working, and I was faced with this decision of being like, well, do I take medical leave? I just started this job. I'm only 3 weeks in, but I can barely type. I can barely use my mouse, and so I decided to take medical leave and go to physical therapy while my thumbs were getting stronger. And luckily, even though the thumbs were messed up, I could still kind of like do these blind drawings or what have you. And I was drawing my week, and I just remember that the sentence that I came out with was I did all the questions and then I
Hmm.
circled certain words, and the bumper sticker I came up with was to rest is to reassure. And I was just like, oh God, like yes, I just need to rest, and being able to rest is to reassure myself that things are going to be okay. And so, in terms of it helped me feel more at peace with that decision. And I remember seeing the image of like my bandaged hand and just being like, girl, you need to rest. Like this is okay.
Yeah,
You know, it
yeah,
it's interesting to see what comes out that you really need that you didn't know you needed, and then having the visual there too, it almost gives it more validity because it's not just in your head. It's like on the page. You can relate to it. You're not the only one, right?
mm,
Even if this thing is like I'm lonely, you're like, "Oh, I'm not the only one."
yeah,
That's kind of nice. How can
y-
I comfort you?
yeah. Well, and I bet it just hits so much harder. Like that's the thing, right? Like with Instagram motivational quotes. Like I'm sure your experience was the same, like with the enlifted method or with,
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to get there. But I mean, I feel like my biggest revelations have been the simplest things that, like, if you say it, everyone's like, well, yeah, no, like,
Yeah.
you need to rest. Like, oh
Right,
yeah, crazy
exactly.
idea. But if you can like get it to like hit, like that is so much different. Like it's like bodily wisdom instead of just this knowledge that doesn't actually
Right.
change
I think it
anything.
goes back to the poesis thing. It's like, yeah, there's the knowledge where you're like, that makes sense. But then if it comes out of you in a way that's almost mysterious and unexpected, and then you have this visual to associate with it too, yeah, it hits. It hits,
Oh
especially
yeah.
because at the time, rational or not, we're not really that rational creatures. I was terrified to rest. I thought I was like, they're gonna send you to prison. Like I was like, genuinely, because when you take the medical leave, you have to fill out all this paperwork, and they're like, if you're lying, like we're gonna find out, and we've got literally like the company that gives you paid whatever short-term leave, they're like, we've got lawyers that will like investigate this thing. And I was like, oh my God, what if they don't believe me? And like, what if it happened too close to when I joined the company? all these things.
Yeah.
And so to rest is to reassure was like a turning point for me.
Damn. Damn. Yeah, that's like, oh, I was talking with one of my friends last week about just this constant, oh, somebody's going to come call me out or somebody's going to, give me a report card. And it's just like, and like what I was thinking through that like pretty deep. And then I realized living that way is worse than any sort, like, no one's going to actually come up and give you a report card and tap you on the shoulder. But like, even if they were living that way for your entire life, expecting that and for it to never come is way worse than even if you were humiliated. Like at
Yeah.
least we could get it over with, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's where the podcast title came from too, was I mean, it was a ketamine journey, and I was just like deep in it, and I
Oh,
came out of
yeah.
it with just nothing is wrong. Like that was like it hit so hard, and I was like, oh my god, it's like the most relieving thing in the world. And like, of course,
Yeah.
I'm not, walking around blissed out, always remembering that, but it's like it is like the anchoring, like you said, with the imagery here. Like it's like that just reminder, that subtle reminder to myself whenever I'm getting caught up in my mind to recenter a little bit.
Totally. Totally. And I wanted to also, you had asked before we started talking about, how do we help, what do you say to people who have a tough time getting out of their head and imagining, there was the, what do you do with when you have a lot of ideas? But there was also a question, I think, around um, grounding during moments of anxiety. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. I have I have my fair share, certainly, of doing scary things at a heightened state and then being like, okay, how do I just come back down from this? Because it's either I avoid it completely and I never do the thing, or I agree to myself I will do the thing at the heightened state and then figure out how to like come back down, you know?
That hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, just, I mean, even this podcast, I shared that with a podcast guest earlier this week, like just life ups and downs and heightened states. And I had been wanting to do this, and I do want to do this. Like, that's the thing. And I was in like a really high, and I put together all of it, like, reached out to a bunch of people. And then, a month goes by, and I was coming down out of that. And like the old thoughts start coming in, and it's like, wanting to cancel some of these and all
Mm,
this. And I was just like, I shared this with someone a couple of days ago. Like the other day, I really had one of those moments of like, holy shit, like I'm doing the damn thing. Cause it was like, hey, you can still do it without feeling
yeah.
how you did 6 weeks ago. Like it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
continue, but like that hits hard because like that totally, and ironically, as I accepted that, now I'm, the baseline's coming way back up anyways, but
Yeah, I can relate to that so much too. Is it okay if I get up and grab something? I don't know if that's unprofessional.
yeah,
I need to
yeah,
grab a journal.
no,
I'll be right back. But I mean, I guess I have my
go ahead.
headphones on, so
Yeah.
I can continue talking. But I'm gonna grab I'm gonna grab a journal of mine because I was just working on this idea. Oh my gosh, where is the journal? Maybe it's not with me. I was just working on this idea yesterday, and I think it's going to be the next thing in my newsletter that I post for how to help with anxious moments. I read this
Nice.
book back when my thumbs were injured and I was just like in a fight, flight, freeze mode constantly. It was this book called what's the book called? It's called The Secret Language of the Body. It's about nervous system regulation.
Ooh.
They had it's wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
They have this method that they use to interrupt anxiety they have a couple, but this one has been the easiest and the most helpful for me, and it's called BASE. The acronym is BASE, which stands for um, breathing, actions, sensations, and emotions. So what you
Okay.
do is you check in with your first, you're like, okay, how am I breathing right now? Just noticing how I'm breathing. You know, is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it slow? Whatever. Just noticing. Then you notice, what action does my body want to take right now? Do I want to text someone? Do I want to go on a run? No, do I want to hide? You know, whatever it is, just noticing without judgment. And then emotions, or sorry, sensations is like, okay, where am I feeling this? Am I feeling it in my thumbs? Am I feeling it in my throat? And then the last one is emotions, again, without judgment. I'm feeling curious or I'm feeling scared or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm such a visual person. What if I could take that base exercise that I usually do in my head, which I love to do anyway, but what if I could like turn it into a journal page where so at the top, it says breath, and maybe like as
Mm,
I'm breathing, I'm drawing, like I'm like breathing in, and then I'm breathing out, and then I'm breathing in, and it's almost like a heartbeat. And
yeah.
then I do like a little like gingerbread man body thing, and I'm like, okay, what actions do I want to take? Like right now I want to drink coffee, I want to color, I want to draw, I want to like take Olive on a walk. And I kind of note where those things live in my body. Like these, you know, the head, I want to drink coffee out of my mouth, I want to draw with my hand, I want to go on a walk with all of my feet. Then where are the sensations? So for me, the sensation was like radiating out of my heart. And I was like, I don't know, it just feels like expansive, kind of like a flower or something like that. And these emotions were coming up, curiosity, calm, intrigue. And then I was like, okay, well, this is like the little version of this sensation. What if I could like enlarge it and make it
Mm,
bigger? And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is like an emotion geode. I was like, it literally looks like a geode when you crack it open. And I had no idea that that was going to come out, but it did. And then it's also just enjoyable to take a marker and basically like repeatedly follow things that you're drawing. And then I asked it those questions. I was like, what do you believe? What do you need from me? What do you feel like? What do you think about? Right. And so now I have this whole page where I was able to take a moment where I was kind of overwhelmed and like overstimulated and just like get present, check in with my breath, the actions I wanted to take, my sensations, my
yeah.
emotions, and then make art out of it. And kind of like after that, I was like, I feel good. I'm going to go drink my coffee and take Olive for a walk.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah. Because I would have taken that and I would have been like, oh, yeah, breathe action, sensation. You know, it's like, I feel like taking the moment to like draw it out and do that. Well, first of all, it looked really cool. But second, just like actually ingraining it and slowing, because how many of these things, like for anxiety, right? It's like, yeah, just slow down, right? You know, like,
Yeah.
but drawing that out, and I love the like mapping to the body. I feel like that's
It's
really
so
cool.
satisfying. It's
Yeah.
like it just reminds me of those diagrams where, well, I mean, maybe this is morbid, but you know when you see like the autopsies or whatever, and they're like, "This is where it all happened." I
Uh,
just, or like operation or something like that. You know,
yeah.
you wanna be able to see it somewhere, and that gives it, um, I don't know, like a validity in some
Yeah.
way. Or, and then the other thing too is like I think that people forget. I don't forget because it's so in my realm every day, but I think people forget how enjoyable it is to feel the sensation of a marker on a page or smell or like the sound of it dragging. Like we're so used to typing and scrolling on the phone. Just the sensations themselves are grounding.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember always like blocking off in school, like I have to fill in this whole thing. Okay, I'm going to block off to here, and that's my first starting, like that's so satisfying.
It's so
Um
satisfying.
the
Yes.
the uh the mapping, I is that like a I know this maybe wasn't exactly what you're talking about, but I've never looked into this, but I feel like I've heard this before that there's a process people go to for a specific end, of course, that I'm bringing into this, but like in just the process of getting more in touch with your bodily sensations and like interoception and emotions and things like that is like basically mapping it like that, and then over time you start to build even more, because a lot of this stuff is these things going on in our body, they're happening. We just like we're so drowned out with other stimuli that we don't really connect with it or notice that it's there.
Yeah.
But I feel like I had just heard somebody mention how helpful it can be to map your body to build more interoception.
Totally. It's cumulative. And the more, so actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because I've been working on my own, like, I don't, is this backwards or can you read it forward? Is this showing up backwards for you? Because it looks backwards for me.
No, it's showing up. It's showing up forward, but it's blurry. I think just from our. It'll
Oh, from the
upload
connection.
regularly, but I think from the connection, it's blurry.
Got it. Well, so to your point, I have a page that I keep in my journal right now where it's like the body, and I'm starting to siphon off like head, shoulders, hands, arms, feet, stomach, neck, like places where I feel things a lot. And I'm noting the common patterns over time that I have discovered as I do the enlifted story work stuff. Okay, when I feel it in
Mm.
my head, a
Mm.
lot of times it's like invalidating, um, self-criticism. When I feel it in my lungs, for me, it's like an unworthiness or a depression. When I feel it in my hands, it's about letting something go. And so, yeah, I'm
Mm.
getting to know my specific, I know now that when I feel something in my feet, I'm onto something. Like I want to move forward
Mm.
with that thing because I feel it in my feet and I've mapped that sensation. I don't know if it's the same for everyone. I doubt it is, but
Yeah. Yeah, well that I feel like that makes so much sense too because that's there oh gosh, what's his name? Peter Levine. He's like a trauma guy. A trauma guy.
yeah, yeah, no,
Trauma
no,
trauma release exercises. You
yeah,
familiar?
isn't it something like something about it, it
Tiger.
I know what you're talking about, but yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe awakening the tiger or the hidden tiger. All right, now I'm gonna search it just to make sure, so that people. I'll put it below, but waking the tiger. So his entire approach to trauma is like he has a couple exercises that are like are designed to help move through. He basically says you were inhibited from taking action around the situation, and so like
Yeah.
as you were talking, even when you were talking about that base, it's like allowing your body to move and shake and what if it's in your feet, like maybe it is going for a jog or whatever it is. And he talks about like in his book, it was fascinating because oh gosh, you're probably going to love this because this was kind of an introduction to me to these ideas. Like a lot of his patients, so first and foremost, he really focuses on building that inner sense, just like sensing your body, like whatever's there. And he talks
Yeah.
about how it naturally leads to some of these traumas and things coming up. But then the metaphor or analogy or whatever uh, would be like someone like one of the examples was like this kid got attacked by dogs when he was a kid, and now he was an adult and he was a patient of his, and like part of the process is like a visualization of a scenario, whether or not it's the exact same scenario repeating in a different way, an outcome, or completely unrelated, where it's like they're imagining themselves, but this time it was different because they could move their feet and get away, or because they could fight back, or because, and it's like they're
Totally.
visualizing this process. And one of them was like this kid was, I don't remember if it was like a sexual abuse thing or whatever, but his visualization was like being out with the men of this tribe and hunting an animal, and then finally, and like he drew his bow back and was able to like slaughter this animal, and it was like it was symbolic for the tribe. It was really fascinating, and like, anyways, all
Yeah.
that to say, like as you were describing that, just how important that can be to, instead of just like, okay, just like feel this here, be still, like no no no, if you need to like freaking go shake it out or whatever, I feel like
Yes.
that can be so helpful.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And then also to the point of like not, let's say you don't. I mean, you're reminding me of one of the things I learned in my certification for expressive art therapy. uh, the expressive art therapy means that you can essentially daisy chain different modes of expression one from the other. So for example, like I showed you in this, I daisy chained, I had this symbol in the center of the
Okay, yeah.
body, and then I was like, oh, I want to make that, I want to enlarge that, it wants to be bigger. And then I was like, it wants to talk to me, so I asked it these questions. You know what I could do next is I could look at this image and I could say, how does this image want to move? And I could get up and just like act
Mm,
out how it wants to move, like I am its representative. And I don't even have to know, like, oh, this is if you're like stuck and freeze, you go like that. It's just no, like the art can tell you, the art can tell you how it wants to move. And then after you move, you could be like, does that want to be turned into a poem? And you can just
mm,
keep going and going.
yeah.
So that is all of these things are really cool ways to say that like you can express and get in touch with your body, your mind, your intuition without even having an instruction manual, just by like reacting to the next thing that's in front of you
Mm,
and asking it, do you want to move? Do you want to talk? Do you have a story you want to tell? Do you have an image you want to show me? So
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, I just spent an hour doing this, being present. I wasn't thinking about any of the other stuff
Mm,
in my life. Like,
yeah.
and then also this makes me want to do something else cool.
Yeah. I love it. The expression, like that word expression, like express. I think uh I mean for me lately that's been very top of mind of just like I've been I've always been, and I don't know why, but always been like more reserved and like trying to appear a certain way, and just that led to a lot of like tightening and just rigidity.
Yeah.
And when I think about like depression, as we call it, what is that other than locking parts of yourself down and not letting expression in general, right? Like that
Totally.
takes so
Yeah.
much work. And while I haven't gotten to like a ton of spontaneous dancing, um, I honestly like
Yet.
yet for sure. Yeah, I went to this body worker locally, and she runs like a oh, what does she call it? Um, it's like a somatic dance journey
Oh, that's
thing,
cool. I want a
and
somatic dance journey.
I'm like that scares the living shit out of me because I'm like, how do I do it right? How do I do the sets and the reps right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's like, and because of that, I'm like, all right, I want to try that. I brought it up to my wife. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, but anyways, I just love this as like a way to express, like, as far as outside of the art side, which I'm definitely gonna try some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, just express like I've been like lately a couple times when I'm just really like in my head locked down, like screaming my lungs out in my car, and it's so freaking helpful. Like I feel so
Yes.
much better after. It's insane.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I not being able to express and like you said, dampening that or constricting it, it's like um what's the word? It's not amnesia, but it, it's something. It's doing something to the soul that the soul is just like, I don't know what's the point if I can't show how I am really feeling right now, and how can I even move forward without expressing. There's this other book called Language of Emotions, and she relates the holding back of like emotions as like a dam that just stops the flow of energy, and that really resonates with me.
I just picked that up. Carla, The Language of Emotions, Carla McLaren.
Yeah, Carla McLaren. I love. It's one of my
Okay.
favorite books.
Hell yeah. All right. I grabbed it. Um it's a thick one, so I was kind of intimidated. But
It's
now I'm
amazing. Even
okay.
if you just read like her intro story just about the potency and the reason to be in touch with emotions, and then she also breaks it down into the elements too of like earth, fire, water, air, which I just think is so cool. One of my favorite exercises from that book that I actually do in my journaling too, I forget what she calls it exactly. I turned it into something called an acceptance walk. Um,
Mm,
she has you voice, or in my case, write out all of the things, every single granular little thing that's bothering you right now. Like to the point where it's like, I hate the way the sound of this person next to me is chewing, or like, the gnats in the just really even the smallest things, right? And you write it
hmm
all down. And then you put the word I accept in front of it. Like, I accept that. And to me, that has been sometimes I'll just go on a walk and say it. I don't have to write it down, but getting it all out and just saying, accepting it doesn't mean I like it or want it to happen, but I accept that this is the reality right
mm,
now. And that's also gotten me through breakups, right? I'll start with, I hate that. Da, 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 da. I hate, I hate, I hate. And that's a very dramatic word. And so then after I get like, I hate, then I write, I accept. And
mm.
I'm like, and then I breathe it out. I do the story where the enlifted method. And I'm like, I accept it. I accept this thing. And I feel a lot better afterwards.
Damn, that's cool. Um, yeah, I feel like a nice bridge between the two is I don't accept it. Okay, I accept that I hate.
Yeah.
Like if you
Right.
can't get there, or if you're telling yourself you can't be there, like
Yeah.
just throw accept in front of the like accept that you hate it.
That's
At least
true. Right.
be fully in the you know yeah. Hey, real quick, that book you mentioned a little bit ago,
Yeah. The secret
the
language of the
secret.
body.
Yeah, so I'm seeing two. I'm seeing the secret language of the body and the secret language of your body.
It's by Jennifer Mann and Carden Rabin, The Secret
Okay.
Language of the Body.
Okay, hell yeah. That one has a better cover and is more intriguing to me than the other one, anyways.
Yeah, and it's got like visuals in it too, so,
Nice.
definitely consider getting the physical book versus audiobook, but it just had so much good stuff in there.
Sweet. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, man.
Um, okay, I was meaning to ask this a while back. Is it
Yes.
as far as visualizing, have
Yeah.
you seen those charts of the apple in your head? Do you know what I'm
Charts
talking?
of the Apple?
It's uh there's a freaking name for it. And um
I'm very
it's
intrigued.
okay, yeah. I'm actually really I love talking about this to people that haven't heard of it. It's like this thing where some people and I think this I'm gonna get your thoughts because I think the whole thing is kind of it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm gonna show you the chart. Um uh like how people visualize differently.
Ooh, no, I would love to see this.
Okay. Oh, it's called aphantasia. So, have
I've
you
heard
heard of
of
that?
that. It's
Okay.
where I think it's where someone like cannot imagine or have an image in their head.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think.
So, the first time I saw this chart, um,
Wait, are you sharing something right now?
no, I'm still scrolling
Okay.
Google to find a good one to share. Um, okay, here's a good one. Okay. Share screen. Here we go. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what it says, and for people listening, it basically says, imagine a red apple. What do you see? And it's a scale of 1 to 5. Number one is perfectly realistic, as clear as literally seeing a red apple in your mind's eye.
Mm.
And number 5 is no image. I only know I am thinking of a red apple. So I'm curious, where would you say you are? on here.
Me personally, I would say I don't really believe in like the idea of perfectly realistic, but I can bring up the image of a red apple. I feel like I'm at a two. I don't think anything is perfect, so I'm having a little bit of trouble with the words
Oh,
themselves, but
okay.
yeah.
But you
I mean,
can
and yeah.
okay. So I see
Interesting.
this and I'm like I don't I'm number 5. I don't see anything. And
Interesting.
my dad says the same thing. And then my brother-in-law, he was like, "Oh, no, I can like spin it around." He's like, "I see it. Like I
Yeah.
can spin it." But it's like you're not this is where it gets confusing to me because if you like close your eyes, you're not like actually seeing it, right? You just have
Right.
a
Yeah.
vivid like I don't know. I'm wondering if we all are kind of referring to the same things and we're just using different words, you know?
Right.
Cuz
Yeah.
it's like I can like imagine what the front of my house looks like or what an apple looks like, but I don't see anything.
I agree. I do not see the apple, but I know it's a weird seeing.
Yeah.
I could totally relate to just being number five, where I'm like, well, I know that I'm thinking of it, and yeah, I could imagine spinning it around. But I agree, it's not like this 3D thing that's like right there that I can touch.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I was just yeah, I don't know. I love
No,
talking
that's
about
a
this cuz it blows my mind. But
it's wild, yeah.
yeah, it's weird. Um but anyways. Um let's see. I feel like I had one other thing that I thought of earlier, but I can't think of it now. Um yeah, what else is on your mind? What else do you do in your I mean, I feel like this has been great so far. This is awesome. Like I love these exercises you've shared. It sounds really cool. I'm going to try it. What
Yeah, yeah.
what other types of stuff do you do in like your course introducing people to these methods? Any
I break down. So the thing with the journal stuff that I show, or if you go to my website, rewildingimagination.us, there's all these different examples, and that's not even half of the examples, right? Like, and you can kind of just ask. One might ask themselves, well, this is so many. How do I even get started? What do I even write about?
mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I went through the last 12 years of my journals and broke the entry types down into four categories. Um, the categories that I teach are like, here, you can try these ways of expressing or things to think about are honoring, aka honoring small moments or small learnings. So like honoring a book you're reading by making a little drawing of something, from Language of Emotions. I actually have a page in there about from that book of like the way she describes fire, earth, water, air as emotions. So honoring is one. Play is another one. Giving yourself time to like essentially have recess by doodling or making squiggles that don't have to mean anything. So for example, um, I mean, this is more uh, what's it called? Advanced, but you can also just take multiple pens and scribble around and doodle just for fun. So you got honor, play, process, which is like taking that lead and turning it into gold. There's a bunch of different ways that I process through diagrams, through the base thing I
The
just showed you.
okay. And like those questions, I would
Those
assume. Okay.
questions, yes, the blind drawings, those questions, those are just a few ways. And then
Yeah.
the last one is inspire, which is like if you really don't know what to write about or what to do, but you just want a way to express yourself, like grab a book, open it to a random, or hopefully a book of poetry or something, but open it to a random page and then just copy down the thing that you see. Or if you're into astrology, copy down, an astrology reading that you just got that day, and make it pretty. Write it in different colors. What else can you do? Um, Quotes that stick with you, right? Like just give those a big space to live. What did I do the other day? So, example, I was taking a class on writing, and so I have this page where like I love doing bubble letters in my journal. So you
Mm.
can really sit with and be present with one quote if you take the time to like make the letters big and can you still hear me? My earphone
Yeah.
fell out. Okay,
Yep.
good. So that's another thing I think I'm going to add to my curriculum this year is teaching people how to do the bubble letters because it's another one of those things where like, oh, of course you can do bubble letters. And they're like, I
Right.
don't even know where to start. So
Yeah.
that'll be part of the inspiration thing because that's, I mean, you just open up a page and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this quote. Like I really want to be going in this direction. So yeah, it's honor, play, process, inspire. And those are there's obviously like wild things out, everything in between. But if you really want to just have like four things to consider when you're doing your journaling, your expressive journaling, that's how I broke down my different types of entries.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I uh I like the quote one cuz yeah, that's great. Like
I think there's a word for it too. I want to say like I don't know if you can look this up, commonplacing. If that's there's a word for people who just journal quotes and poems that already exist. And like that's a super valid way of getting in touch
oh
with
yeah,
analog
collect
and
quotes ideas.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that the first
Yeah, I
page of
love that.
all of my journals have that. Like I leave the first page is for stickers and then like the
Mm.
first page that you can write on, I collect quotes as I go. So I'm like, oh, I really want to remember this is I want to imbue my journal with this essence. And so I stick it in,
Nice.
just collect them throughout the year.
This might be a dumb question, but like what do you recommend a certain kind of journal?
Oh yeah. No.
Okay.
I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
not a dumb question.
Okay.
Like I have a drawer that I'm like grabbing. These are just half of them. I've used the same journal. I'm on journal
Oh,
number
nice.
15 right now. So,
Okay.
uh I could not recommend these more. They're called Life Noble Note.
Okay.
Um They are specifically, so Life makes three different types of journals. They make lined, blank pages, and grid pages. I recommend the grid pages
Okay.
because uh, grid lets you go all over the place if you want to, but it also has faint lines for you to like, align your text to or whatever. So it allows you to be nonlinear while still
Okay.
giving you the scaffolding if you need it. It's also, I'm obsessed with these, so I have a lot to say. The pages are cream colored. They're not blank white. So, like, the cream colored and the light grid really gives you, like, a non terrifying place to start. The texture of the pages are super smooth, really easy to write on. And they lie flat. Like, they open and
Yeah.
stay flat, which is, like, super important to me. The binding has never failed me. Like I take these things in my backpacks and like really beat them up and it's never failed. Also the color is amazing. Obviously love this color, but like this color it just calls to you. It's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
like this red, orange, like I want to write in it.
Yeah.
Um the size I get is called B5. It's a
Okay.
little bit smaller than a piece of US like regular paper. Don't get the A5. The A5 is too small.
Okay.
Um, it's I don't know. I don't like it. B5 feels good to me.
Would this B5N32 be the right thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 100
Cool.
sheets.
Yep.
Um, it's yeah. If I was stuck on an island and I could only bring like one thing, it would be. I mean, aside from stuff that would help me live, yes, it would be this journal and like a pen because It's like my Wilson for Castaway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like if I ever lost it, I'd be like, Wilson.
Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Oh,
Would that be quad then? Not ruled or
yes.
solid? Okay, quad.
Correct.
Quad
Quad.
B5.
Yep. And it's like, it's not an aggressive quad, like it's like really faint, so it
Okay.
doesn't just get distracting. And then in terms of, I also really recommend, especially for beginners, to instead of writing with a pen is so feeble, like the line is so thin, it can just feel like, if you write with like a marker, a Tombow marker is great. It has like this,
Tombow.
it's, yeah, Tombow. It has two sides. It's got like the side that you can write with,
Okay.
and then it's got a side that you can like color in with. That's like more of a broad uh sweeping. You can add color easily.
Mm-hmm.
These are awesome. And the only
Okay.
other thing I would say about getting markers and pens and all that good stuff is like, my biggest piece of advice is not to get the 100 pack. Like, do not get as few colors as possible, because the more colors you have, the more upset you'll be with yourself for not using them,
Mm,
and it'll just be like overwhelm of choice. The fewer the options you have, the more creative you'll be. So just go get like 4 colors
sweet.
and stick with that.
Hell yeah. Okay. This is really helpful. It makes me more. This is the type of stuff like if I have instead of just doing it on
Yeah.
a random piece of paper, it's going to make me more excited to
Oh,
jump in.
totally. You know what else you can do in the journals is, if you're a voice note person, is like copy down images and notes from voice notes, turn those into like something really fun.
How,
Um,
how
I
much
could
time
go
do you?
forever.
How much time would you say? Not as like a prescription, but I'm just genuinely curious. How much time do you spend like every day or week journaling and doodling and drawing?
I mean, it is the thing that makes me the most happy. So I, I, it depends on the week, but I mean, I would probably spend at least an hour or two a week playing in it. And
Hell yeah.
then sometimes, even if I don't have something to write, I can go back to old entries and just use a colored marker and like color things in or outline things or whatever, so that an old page I can revisit and make it look
Mm,
pretty or interesting.
yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like having a coloring book that like you made yourself, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Trying to grab, I thought I had an example of an idea party here somewhere that where I okay, so one last fun tip for making your lists expressive or your entries expressive is that, um one of my favorite ways to dress up a list or a journal entry is to take a different colored marker and underline, as if it's a ruled piece of paper, underline each line. And you can like, it just gives it this cool pop. Like you can underline it in like orange or blue, and then all the lines, it's hard to
Mm,
describe. Or you can take words and just circle them, right? Like in the shape of the word in different colors. And there's no real purpose. It's just like that looks cool.
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like I think that's where, um how much time do most people spend doing something without purpose? You know? Like without a means to an end, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I look at my day to day and how jam packed it is with like checking things off, go do this, like not playing, basically. Um, Doing something open ended for no, just to do it. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. And then, and like last year, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a puzzle to do something to not do it, and then I got the puzzle, and I'm like, let's get the puzzle done, and it's just like, okay, defeating the point.
Let's get the puzzle done. Well, it's
Yeah,
so cool when you don't have something in mind, when you don't have an end result in mind, there's so much beauty that can come out of it unexpected. Not that it has to, but it can.
right.
Like I I was trying out I had a new pen and I wanted to see what the color looked like on the pen. So I wrote out, something like the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And I was like, okay, cool. I see what it looks like. And then I had this water marker or this water pen with me. Basically, it's like a brush that has water that comes out of it. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to underline this and see what happens. And I underlined it. And then, like, there was this really cool moment where the pen bled into the water. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it just tumbled into this whole other thing where ultimately I ended up drawing this amazing. I traced my hand with the pen and then used the water marker to make the shadows of the hand. And I was like, it was just a total exercise in being fascinated by one thing after another and then making something that I had no preconceived notion that I would make.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh, well, now I know in the future, as at least as an artist, I'm like, this is a technique I can use. And I just stumbled across it because I was like messing around.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
At
Yeah, I
the end,
mean,
that's how you develop your own unique
right,
vibe.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is not super related, but like I had been wanting to do a new something or other for my business, and like 3 months ago, I just like built the funnel, and I wasn't really like things were going okay, so I was just like, I'm just gonna build this thing, and it ended up doing so well, and I think it was just because I was just building it to build it, like I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to like force it. And looking back, I was just like cracking up because the amount of things I've done in the past that are so like, okay, I'm going to do this now and it's going to lead to this. And this was just like totally just
Right.
like, let's just do this for fun. And then it like worked out so well.
And oh my gosh, that just makes me feel like it's such a much a more enjoyable process
Yeah.
to do it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that is so cool. You're reminding me too. So I did a couple of art workshops with the Seattle Art Museum this past winter. One of them was around visualizing box breathing. Are you familiar with box breathing as like a nervous system regulation
Yeah.
technique?
Yeah.
You breathe in for four, hold for four, breathe out for four, hold for four. So I gave people this air dry clay and I was like, symbolize your box breathing in a clay, I don't know, talisman or something. And it was flat, the instructions were vague, but it was like, just make this flat thing and, there's four corners and that's how you do it. And then we just left people to their own devices. And in the background, there was somebody playing like a flute. There was like a live flautist in the background. It was really cool. And suddenly this guy comes up and instead of making this flat box breath thing, he's just like, "No, I'm going to make this purple flower." And he was the first person to make something 3D. And there were people this was like hours of people coming through doing these flat things. He sits in a chair, he makes this 3D purple flower. I'm like, "That's so badass, cool." He leaves. 20 minutes later, a woman shows up, sits in his exact same seat, literally starts making the exact same flower. And I was like, I'm not kidding. Same color, same size, same look. There were no instructions to make a flower. And she sat in that, and I was like, is this flower just a thing that wants to emerge? And like the people that are willing to sit down and let it come through them, let it emerge. That's what I feel like it is when you take a thing where you're like, I don't really know why I'm doing this, but I'm just doing it.
Hmm.
It's because it's a thing that wants to emerge through your specific consciousness and your unique interests. And how cool is that? I don't know. It just like blows me away.
Yeah. That's fucking cool.
I was like, my jaw was on the floor. With the other facilitator, we were like, she's making a flower. Like, and then I was like, is it the music? Is it the
Right.
chair? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Or
so
just
I want more of
we
that in the
got
world.
no idea. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like just yeah. I mean, I yeah. Uh it just seems like a great way to that's why like coming across Enlifted has been cool, and this is the exact same category of like I think for the longest time I knew that I wanted to bring something into my coaching that could go deeper than just this, uh, logical thinking mind. But I didn't know. I was like, what do I like? Do I need to go back to school? Like become a therapist? Do
Right.
EMDR or something? And then it's just like, okay, there's this insanely simple way to get access to our deeper layers of our psyche that you
Yeah.
don't and with that it's like it's like I've found plant medicine very helpful, but not you can't go do that every week, like or every morning, like or at least I don't think it's a good idea.
Right, right,
But so
right.
like being able to bring this into and like microdose that, in a way,
Mm.
every day is super super cool. Like, and we just have no freaking clue what's going on. Like,
Totally.
yeah. It's great. Okay, so more about your course, like where, if people are curious, what you mentioned your website, but like,
Yeah.
what could they expect? Like, where can they find you?
Yeah, website is the perfect place to start. The rewildingimagination.us.us.
Okay,
That will have a link to the get on the email list, which is where I will announce when the next cohort is starting. And then I'm also working on an asynchronous class that you could just take on your own time versus in like a live format. Because I know sometimes it's hard for people, especially with time zones, to meet at a specific time. Though I will say the most magical experience will definitely be in person because then you get to have these conversations with people and witness how other people are experiencing it, which is huge. I also have a Substack, which I should know the name of it. I'm fairly certain it's also Rewilding Imagination. But you can search for my name, Erin Nolan, if that doesn't show up. I'm sure it will. Substack has some more tutorials on it. That's also where
cool.
I post, little snippets day to day, and then just my Instagram, Erin Nolan. I assume we can put these in the notes or
Yeah,
something like
I'll
link.
put
Yeah,
it
yeah,
all
yeah.
below for sure. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, and so when you sign up for the newsletter, like I've got a couple of intro techniques that I've filmed and you can learn how to do and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's so interesting that we keep talking about, well, yeah, well, what do you do when there's not really a tangible purpose or whatever? And I'm like, I'm in that mode. I'm just going forward and I'm just gonna keep putting this out there because every time without fail that I show people these things, they're like, that
Yeah.
was so cool. Like I feel so enriched. And I'm like, yes, it is nice to feel enriched and present in life, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean that that's like that's where I've been lately. I'm like, what the hell was I doing? Like I don't know what I was doing for so long because now I'm, the path has shifted so much towards how can I feel more in general,
Yeah.
and any way to connect with that. And it's like, yeah, duh, like pretty good idea to feel your human experience when you're having it. Like
Yeah,
crazy, right?
yeah. Living is there's a Mary Oliver quote that's like, um, I wrote it down in my journal as one of my inspiration things, but it's something like, where is it? Okay, instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it.
Hmm.
That's living. It's like pay attention, be astonished, like write about it, express it, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay. I've been doing last question and I know where this is going to go or it'll be an easy transition. But
Okay.
what I've been saying is you get 10 minutes. You get to give the entire earth, every person on earth 10 an instruction for one day to take 10 minutes and they're going
Ooh.
to follow your instructions. What
Oh
would
my
you
gosh, I
have them
love it.
do?
I love it. I would have them. Okay, so this is my favorite way to get out of the rational brain. Some people hate it, some people love it, but I love it, so I'm going to share it. There's this drawing technique called blind contour drawing. Another name for it
Okay.
is blind continuous line drawing. And the way it works is it's similar to the practice I had you do earlier, which is like I was like close your eyes, your mind is a projector while your eyes are closed you're drawing. So you cannot see the paper.
Hmm.
In this version, you're looking at something,
Okay.
but you're not looking at the paper. So it's blind in a different way.
Okay.
So when I say so, I let's say your kids or your pet is sleeping next to you or like watching TV or something, and you want to be present in that moment. So like have a piece of paper and a pen in your hand, look at them, and then you take your pen and you start. I'm trying to outline my face right now. I know not everyone's watching, but you start to try to draw the the lines that you see in any order. In any
Yeah.
order, you're like, okay, I'm going to start with like the eye, and then I see this, and I'm going to go here, and then I see that, I'm going to here, and then I see this, and now maybe I want to do the lips, maybe I want to do the next eye, maybe I want to do the hair, da da da, and then you do that without lifting the pen,
Mm.
okay? And then you
Okay.
look down at the paper, and you're like, holy shit, A, this looks wild.
Hmm.
But B, like, there is an essence of the thing that you were just present with on the page in a way that you could never get if you were trying to, like, represent the symbol of an eye or an ear or a dog's paw. Like you'll look at it and be like, I can't believe I drew that. I can't believe that I kind of got the paw. And then the paw will be like really big and the nose will be really small, or like the kid's ear will be huge and and you're
Yeah.
like, interesting. I was really into the ear. Like I was really whatever it is. And it is such a beautiful way to be present and have a surprise at the end and practice your ability to like have something come through your eyes and through your hand without worrying what it looks like.
Mm. Yeah, that's really cool. I feel like the there's a quote from somebody, I don't know, but basically just does a centipede think about every single limb, you know? And it's like if they tried to, they wouldn't be able to walk, you know? You just walk. You don't
Right.
think about, oh, I'm going to move. It's like, no, just walk. And like that, as you're explaining that, I'm like, yeah, because if you start trying to recreate it, you lose touch with just the whole thing going on anyways. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Uh,
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I have so many drawings, so many blind drawings of my dog Olive, and I'm just like, these are hilarious
yeah,
and so cool.
yeah,
Like her paw will be like wild, and and I'm like, I just captured a real moment, and her essence.
yeah, that's great. That's super cool. Um, okay. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yay!
I'm really excited to try this all out. And thank you for sharing it with the world.
Thank you, and thank you for being such a fun back and forth conversation. And like, you say that I mean, I feel like you're already on the path. Like you're like doing the somatic dancing journey, and
Not
you're
yet.
you're gonna. Yeah.
It's on the list. It's for later.
Well, just try it in the comfort of your office first or
Yeah.
whatever, but from the drawing. But like this is so cool, and I please keep in touch too. I love all of my past students send me pictures of the stuff that they make, and
Mm,
it's like so freaking cool to get those messages and see what people are doing. Um, yeah, it's just like the highlight of my day.
yeah. No, I definitely will. I'm ordering the journal and some pens for sure. So
Nice, but not 100 pens. Do not do
yeah,
it.
I'll get like
Don't
five.
fall victim.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for
All
sure.
right.
All right. We'll see everyone next week.